Is climate change primarily caused by human activity? A critical perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, we often hear that climate change is the greatest challenge of our time, that human activity, particularly the burning of fossil fuels, is the primary driver behind global warming. But today, I invite you to take a step back and critically examine this claim. Are we truly facing an issue driven solely by human actions, or are there broader forces at play? It is frequently stated that 97% of scientists agree that human activity is the leading cause of climate change. But let us remember, science is not determined by consensus. Throughout history, there have been widely accepted scientific ideas that were later proven incorrect. Think of the geocentric model of the universe or the global cooling predictions of the 1970s. Science must be dynamic. It must evolve with new discoveries and data. A consensus based on provisional models should never be considered an absolute truth. We rely on climate models to predict future scenarios, but these are just that, models, not crystal balls. While they provide valuable insights, they are still unable to accurately capture the complexity of Earth's climate. Just like a triple pendulum, where a minor variation can cause wildly different outcomes, the Earth's climate is a chaotic system, difficult to predict with absolute certainty. Another critical element often ignored in the discussion is the role of the sun. The sun operates on cycles, fluctuating in intensity over time. This affects temperatures on Earth, influencing climate patterns in ways we are only beginning to understand. Are we truly accounting for these natural fluctuations when we attribute global warming solely to human actions? Let's talk about data. Most climate measurement stations are placed in urban and equatorial regions, yet far fewer exist in colder areas like the poles. This creates a statistical bias. If more measurements are taken in warmer places, naturally, the global average will appear higher than it truly is. Are we making decisions based on incomplete data? If past climate predictions had been completely accurate, we would be living in an ice age by now, or facing catastrophic resource shortages. And yet, here we are, with a world that continues to defy many of the dire forecasts from decades past. This is not to say that climate change is not real, it is, but it is far more complex than a simple linear cause and effect scenario. So I ask you, is climate change purely a product of human activity, or are we looking at an intricate, multifaceted phenomenon? We must ensure that our decisions are based on objective science, not fear, not political interests, but on an honest assessment of all contributing factors. Ladies and gentlemen, the Earth will continue to exist with or without us. The real question is, how do we, as a civilization, adapt and thrive in a constantly changing world? Let's ensure that our path forward is guided not just by policy, but by a genuine pursuit of truth.